Chapter 1. Canary in the Coal Mine. I was born wide open. As a child, I could physically feel the invisible energy of people, places, and even objects. Sometimes this was fun. For instance, if my mother lost her keys, I would walk around the house, feeling the air with my hand until I felt a little zotz in my palm. And then invariably I'd look down to discover the missing keys in that very spot, under the stack of mail or in between the couch cushions. I loved to taste the energy of the different places in my house. I'd sit in my father's chair in the living room and feel his essence, and then run upstairs to immerse myself in the atmosphere of my big sister's room and how it felt to be a teenager. But there was a significant downside to this kind of sensitivity. I could walk into an empty room and feel the emotions held there from an argument that had happened weeks ago. I'd start to feel sick, overwhelmed from absorbing the intensity of that information. So you can imagine how I felt at school each day, surrounded by the cacophony of energy from all the kids in my classroom and even the entire building. I was sick throughout my childhood because I was a little sponge, soaking in and being affected by all the energy around me. When my parents took me to visit a family friend at the hospital, I nearly fainted from the overwhelm of sensing all the energy of illness, stress, and anxiety filling that building. After 5 minutes, they had to rush me outside. They assumed I was frightened by being in a hospital for the first time, and I certainly couldn't explain to them what was really going on. I knew no words to describe the experience of being an empath. Most people now refer to this as being a highly sensitive person, and psychologists believe that this includes at least 20% of the population. At the time, I just thought there was something terribly wrong with me. It wasn't until I was in my 20s that I started getting clues that this might not be some personal failing on my part after all, that it might actually have to do with something real. Maybe I'm not crazy after all. When I married into a Chinese family, my very traditional mother-in-law insisted on being part of the hunt for our first house. But she had some rather strange rules about which houses were acceptable, all part of what she called feng shui. This was 15 years before feng shui, the ancient Chinese science of how our environment affects us, became known in the United States, so I had no idea what she was talking about, but I did pay attention. What she was saying was a revelation to me. Could it be that there really was an invisible energy in houses that could affect us? Maybe I wasn't crazy after all. I began to experiment as we looked at houses for sale. I'd walk through the rooms and hold my hand a few inches away from the walls, trying to read the information in each environment. I found that I could identify where stagnant energy was held in a space. Slight stuckness felt like I was brushing cobwebs. Thicker stagnation felt like I was running my hand through mud. When I reached a place where someone had felt strong emotions, it was like walking into an invisible curtain. I could even sense where the electrical wiring was running inside the walls. My mother-in-law became my first feng shui teacher, but I went on to ravenously study with every teacher I could find. After several years, I was practicing feng shui professionally, but I soon found that I was less interested in the visibles, such as where to put the couch or what color the wallpaper should be, and much more interested in the invisibles, the stagnant or stressed energy I felt in a space that was affecting the people there. After all, even if the placement for the couch is visually correct, according to feng shui principles, if it's in a spot that holds disturbed energy from a bad argument, then no one is going to feel good sitting there.